One of the things businesses that struggle have in common is that they're spread too thin. They do too many things, try to serve too many people. And today I want to talk about a concept called a micro niche and why you should strongly consider working out one for yourself. Why? Because it's going to help you be more successful by narrowing who you're serving and making sure that you're appealing directly to them with what you are creating. G'day there, welcome or welcome back. My name is Jess Van Den, and today, as always, we're going to be talking about how to have a thriving and profitable handmade business. And I also do videos on having a healthy and happy work from home lifestyle. So today is one that I've been harping on about for many years now, because I see my students over and over again, and myself when I started out, making this same mistake. And that is doing too many different things and trying to serve too many different people. We have this weird idea that somehow we need to make stuff to appeal to everybody, when in fact, what we want to be doing is making stuff that appeals to a very narrow range of people who will hopefully become raving fans of what we do. A lot of beginner makers just kind of are trying lots of different techniques, using lots of different materials, trying to work out what it is you really love to make. And you might be putting all these things up in your online shop and wondering why nothing's happening and nobody's buying. And one of the reasons is because it's a bit of a mess and nobody really understands what you're all about. I totally did this myself when I started out. I was just experimenting and having fun, trying lots of different crafts, and that is totally fine, especially in the beginning when you're really trying to find your feet and work out what it is you're all about. And this process of discovering your niche, let alone your micro niche, might be very organic in the beginning as well. So if you're at the very beginning of your journey and you just like, I have no idea, that's okay. This is something to work towards as you develop and grow your business. I don't ever expect people to have this stuff figured out right in the beginning. It's something just to know, to work towards. If, however, you have a niche and or a micro niche already, awesome, you're well positioned to be ahead of the game. Now, let's just define those terms a little bit. So your niche is the thing that you make in, like, I could say my niche is jewellery or even maybe silver jewellery. So that is kind of the bigger area that I make in. A micro niche is something inside of that. It's like those Russian nesting dolls. You're going the next level down and getting even more specific about what you make, right? So somebody who does embroidery might do cat embroidery. That might be your micro niche. Or they might do joke embroidery or plant embroidery. Same with somebody who makes jewelry. They might do resin jewelry, but they might do dinosaur resin jewelry. That might be their thing. Whatever it is, it's the thing that you want to become known for. You want to be able to say, I make, and you want other people to be able to say, that's the person who makes this. So you want to be known for that thing that you make. So my niche, one of my niches would be, I make eco-ethical sterling silver jewelry. And even smaller than that, we specialize in wedding rings. So ethical eco sterling silver wedding rings. And even more is we do a lot of oxidized jewelry and oxidized rings. And like I said there, it's like a nesting doll thing, right? You've got a micro niche within a niche within a niche. The beauty of this is that it not only helps your customers understand who you are, it helps you understand who you are and what your business is all about. I'm a big believer that constraints are actually a gift to creativity, because for a lot of us who are creative, if we have no constraints, we basically get paralyzed because the sky's the limit. What should I do? I've got so many options, and then you end up doing nothing, right? It's that sort of choice paralysis, analysis paralysis. I have some videos on overcoming that. I'll put a card here and I'll put a link in the description to those if that's something you struggle with. So basically, if you get clear on what you make and what your micro niche is, then you have kind of endless possibilities within that space to explore what the possibilities are within that micro niche. And for me personally, that actually really sparks my creativity, because I'm like, well, what can I make that's kind of like this, but not exactly like this? And you end up with amazing iterations of work. So I find that it can actually be a really freeing thing, even though in the beginning it seems like, oh my God, I'm putting constraints on things. Now the thing to remember here is Just because you're putting constraints on the things you sell in your business does not mean you can't make other things. You can still make stuff for fun. There's no reason why you can't make a different style of jewellery for fun, or a different style of embroidery or pottery or whatever it is you do. And you might find in the future that you shift and you're like, well, I actually really enjoy this style more now and I'd like to shift in that direction, which means you might have to leave behind some of your old customers and find some new ones. And again, that's fine, but just be aware of what's happening here. When you discover, uncover, decide on your micro niche, it makes having a profitable and successful business so much easier, because you know what you're about, your customers know what you're about, so you know who you're trying to talk to, you know who your target market is and what they care about and what it is they like, and you can give them more of that. And if you can give them more of that, they're more likely to buy more from you. Think about all the really successful artists and craftspeople in the world that you can bring to mind. They're known for something. They're not just jack of all trades or Jill of all trades. They have a very specific style or a very specific type of thing that they are known for doing. That is their niche. That is their micro niche. That is the thing that they have honed and become a master at. And that's what you want to do as well. You want to become a master at that one particular type of work, so that you can dig into the depths of it and uncover more possibilities, and also give your customers more of what they're after, because they came to you for a reason, because they liked what it is that you do and what is different and special about you. It makes your marketing so much easier because you know what your unique selling points are. You know what it is that's special and that stands out and that is different from everybody else. You know what it is that you know how to do, and people will be drawn to that knowledge and confidence in the work that you create. Okay, so if you're still sitting here going, Jess, I still have no idea what my micro niche could possibly be, help me. I've got a couple of steps that you can go through to try to get a bit of a clear idea here and uncover what it might be. Number 1, follow the market. What are people buying? In your whatever you sell already, what are people drawn to? What are your best sellers? What are the things that people comment on? What are the things you get the best reviews about and the most word of mouth about? That is a hint that those are the things people want more of and that they're really, really enjoying. This is basically part of how I discovered my micro niche. I just made a ring and chucked it in my shop and kind of went like, well, this could be a wedding ring. So I put some wedding ring tags on there and whatnot, and it started selling. And I'm like, maybe selling silver wedding rings is actually a thing that more people would like. And so I'm like, well, how about I make some more? And then I made some more, and then they sold, and then I made some more. So it was kind of like I was following the market, and then we ended up becoming specialists in selling silver wedding rings. It wasn't my initial plan, it wasn't my initial goal, but it organically evolved that way by me paying attention to what people were liking about my work. Number 2 is to consider your niche market. So you might have already a bit of an idea of the people who buy from you. What makes them different from other people? What is the commonalities that they have? What are some things you can pull out there that seem to be cropping up over and over again in the people that buy from you? Is it their age, their gender, their location, their lifestyle, do they have kids or not? What are their interests? All that sort of stuff. And this is where, creating that sort of ideal customer or target market avatar is really helpful, because if you can understand your customer a little bit better, you can try to put yourself in their shoes and work out more of what they might be looking for. Number 3 is a bit of market research, and this is where you want to look at your competitors, people who are making making stuff in your niche, like your larger niche. Look at what they're doing well and look at what is not going so well. All right, so have a look at people who make you, say, me selling silver jewellery. If I can compare the shops that are doing well to the shops that aren't doing well, I can start to see some common trends. And one of them would be shops that aren't doing well probably are pretty messy and just have a whole bunch of different styles and designs that don't really mesh well together. And therefore, people who come to the shop who might like one particular type of style don't like the other ones, and so aren't as likely to kind of upsell or cross-sell or come back again, things like that. So have a look at people who are doing really well in your niche and even your micro niche, if it's something you're going to share with other people, and just get a feel for the customers, the marketing these people are doing, the framing. Obviously, don't copy anybody. You need to be you and you need to do things your own way, but we can still learn from our competitors and learn from what they're doing right and wrong, and see if we can glean some kernels of information from that will help us to get clearer on what we're all about and what our business is all about and what our customers care about. Now, figuring out your micro niche might find you need to rejig your business a bit. Maybe you need to redo your branding. Maybe you need to retire a bunch of products and create a whole bunch of new products. I went through this process myself in the early 2010s when I'd had my business for probably about 4 years, I think, at this stage. And I had like 450 products or something in my shop. It was crazy. But it's because I just kept making different things and experimenting, and I just put everything in there. And then when I sort of had this epiphany about, my business, my shop wasn't coherent. It didn't have a theme. It didn't serve a particular customer. And I felt scattered because there was so many different designs in there. And I was like, so I just went, okay, what is Ethereal about? What's my core value here? What is my niche? What is it that I'm going to be specializing in and focusing on? Simple sterling silver jewellery. Minimalist sterling silver jewellery. I'm like, okay. So I looked through my shop, and anything that didn't fit that definition, it got the chop. And that was hard because I actually had some products that were selling quite well that got the chop. And that was a difficult decision because I'm like, well, they're selling well, but so are these other things, but I really want to focus in this direction. And I think it's going to make my business stronger in the long term. Spoiler, it did. And it was difficult. It was also difficult to retire, like 300 products that I'd put the effort into making, photographing, editing, all that stuff. It's a lot of work, but it was the right decision for me at that time to do that. And I've definitely heard from a lot of other makers since then, a lot of my students and other people who've gone through similar evolutions in their business, and I've gone, yeah, it was hard, but it was the right thing to do, because as soon as I did that, everything became much clearer and simpler and stronger, and my business and my brand and my story just strengthened and became so much better and easier to talk about, and people understood what I was about finally. It wasn't a big mess. So, that is a scary point to reach. And this is where a lot of people then end up with like multiple Etsy shops. Like they're like, well, I'll open another shop and I'll sell this other stuff in that other shop. That is a valid choice if that is something you want to do. If you want to start a second business with different branding, a different name to serve different people, just be aware it's an awful lot of work to run 2 or more businesses. So think through that carefully, but that is a valid option also. So I'd love to know, let me know in the comments if you're clear. What is your niche? What is your micro niche? Do you have an idea of what it is? Do you have an inkling? Are you completely clueless at this point? Have you already got one and you're already like, yeah? If so, you're probably not watching this video, but you never know. If you enjoyed this one, give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos on handmade business. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and bye for now.